in the industry. This is also something that a lot of owners are struggling. If you're going to be using LNG, biofuel, does the people on the ship and the people in the office have the knowledge and experience with this kind of fuel? Some of them can be rather dangerous. For example, ammonia, LNG, and things like that. Therefore, we emphasize a lot on awareness and training to share knowledge with the people that is going to be operating the new fuel. That is one of the biggest challenges that many shipping companies are facing. Okay, so what is midterm? Midterm is something up to 2040. Alternative fuel, most of the current alternative fuel that we see today are not completely carbon-free. So we believe that up to 2030, this is going to be the bridge before we reach the end game of decarbonization, which is carbon-free in 2050. Okay, the industry will have to continue to look for more technologies, which is currently not available, or maybe even looking into even newer fuels. Okay, this again will be complemented by more efficient new buildings. However, long term, what is there? New technology, carbon zero, carbon capture. This is something that maybe even nuclear energy, not something that anyone can answer today. We have not arrived there. So in summary, what I can say is the current situation is very complex. What is beyond 2030, we're all guessing. There are some owners not even building ship because they are not decided on what kind of alternative fuel that they're going to be using. They're not wrong, because Singapore being the largest bunkering port, I think in one of the decarbonization conference that we had, it is almost impossible for the marine industry to have 8 different kind of fuels. From day one until today, we have probably 3 or 4 different kind of fuel, but the industry will not be able to run if there are 8 number of fuels, 8 different kind of fuels. Okay, the situation is very complex. We haven't found the silver bullet or even the technology to fuel the future vessels. Again, it is not one size fits all kind of solution. It might fit for a certain kind of trade, certain type of ship, but not all of them. The solution that is available today is not the end game. Like I said earlier, it's only a bridge to the final objective. A reason why we are saying that is because most of the alternative fuel, they still have carbon, except maybe ammonia. As you can see, this is the carbon footprint of all the fuel that we are talking about here. You have methane, methanol, ammonia. Ammonia is close to zero. However, is it really zero? Today, the industry is taking the well-to-wake approach. The tank-to-wake approach. However, to actually see the full carbon footprint of the fuel, they will probably have to move to well-to-wake. Okay, so what does it mean? Today, we are only interested in when the fuel comes on board your ship and what goes into the tank and to the wake, that is the carbon footprint. However, to have a good representation of like how much carbon footprint of this fuel, we need to take the well-to-wake approach, because some of this energy that we are talking about today is very carbon intensive in terms of production. Okay, what is the right alternative fuel? That is a very big question. And of course, this will also be very much driven by the cost. So if you look at the alternative fuel that we have today, there are many types of them. We're breaking down into all the types of ships that you have. You have all this kind of alternative fuel. So what actually determines when to use what? We should not forget about price as well. So if you can see, this 100% mark here is the indication of the price of VLSFO today. And how is this compared to the other types of fuel? For example, LNG. LNG is probably 300 times. If you're talking about methanol, maybe they're on par today. If you're talking about green ammonia is 800 times, which is indicated by this bar. I'm not going to go into all the details. Biodiesel as well, probably 220 times. A lot of consideration will be taken to decide what actual fuel that you're going to be used. Price and of course availability is one of the major factors as well. So here, which alternative fuel, dual fuel is picking up? Many are still dependent on fossil fuel. Why do I say this? Because when you look at the new building that we have, there are still many ships that is built with fossil fuel and alternative fuel. Alternative fuel means you have the option to use an alternative fuel, but your main fuel is still fossil fuel. And the issue will be the ship that we built today will be around for the next 20 to 25 years. So if you look at this table here, this is of course from Clarkson. New building vessel today, 65% of them is still with fossil fuel, with or without scrubber. You can see there's only 35% of the ships that is built that is using alternative fuel. So second option will be fossil fuel, gas ready, with or without scrubber. And then you have fossil fuel with or with ammonia ready, and you have fossil fuel with ammonia ready. All kind of combination. But what I'm trying to say here is only 35% that is without fossil fuel. Okay. Again, ship that is built today will be around for the next 20 to 25 years. So the journey is really long. Are we going to achieve to be completely without fossil fuel in the next 20 years? And if you look from other sources, this is the future of fossil fuel. If you look at the bar graph on the left, this is from ABS, and this is their prediction of fossil fuel up to even 2050. So we are looking at, if this prediction is correct, there will still be around 40% of fossil fuel in 2050. And of course, this one on the right is from Total Energies, which is one of the oil major from France. Today, we have like about 30,000 metric tons, 30 million metric tons. And of course, if you're looking at 2050, this is still going to be about 33% of fossil fuel that is going to be in our industry. So what do we do? InnoSpec, we are helping a lot of owners in this journey to decarbonization. One of our products have been endorsed by Class NK. One of the major tasks that a lot of owners are doing is trying to reduce fuel consumption from your current fleet. So Class NK have given us an endorsement to give about 2 to 3.9% fuel saving. And a lot of people have already input our solution into the SEMP Part 3. And this is what you can see. Yeah, Octama product in terms of helping in fuel reduction. And this SEMP have been endorsed or approved by many other classes as well. That is my last slide. Thank you very much for giving us this opportunity. And like I said from the beginning, we are being represented in India by Emerald. Thank you very much.
Martin, for that. It was very inspiring to know all the thoughts that you had to share. I'm afraid that we'll have to say a little bit of a goodbye to you, but we missed having you here, Martin. Thank you. Yes, Martin, go ahead.
No, thank you. My pleasure to be a part of this event. Thank you very much for the invite.
Thank you. Thank you, Martin.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Yes. Martin, on your behalf, we would like to present a small token of our gratitude, and we're doing it. Ritu is here to collect it on your behalf.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being here with us. As I hope you can see, Ritu, could you come up and join us on the stage, please? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, yes. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. And that was for Mr. Martin Chu for joining us. We will now move ahead to another stalwart in the room, and I would like to introduce you first by playing his audio.
Captain Ruchin is a master mariner, former chairman of the CMMI Goa chapter, fellow of the IIMS UK, associate fellow of the Nautical Institute London, an accredited surveyor of SAMS America, and a member of AIMS Australia. He is the CEO of E. Solutions, a technology company which he founded in 2004. From tracking solutions to cargo testing labs, to cybersecurity solutions, to creative training methods, E. Solutions has only one goal: to merge philosophy and technology with the nuances of the maritime trade for the benefit of the seafarer. Captain Dayal's articles may be found on the Internet repository of the Seaways magazine Command, Mary, as well as in the Report magazine of the IIMS. E. Solutions is a member of BIMCO, certified by class NK Met for their training, also certified under ISO 27001, 21001, and 9001. The E. Marine Laboratory is approved by the DTS, certified by NABL under ISO 17025.
Ladies and gentlemen, Captain Richie Well.
Hello. Thank you. May we have the lights dim, please? We are going to exit the stage and have a small video to play for you, and then we get back on. Yeah.
This is the motor tanker Moonhorse, a 150,000-tonner carrying crude from the Gulf to Japan. Big alteration to starboard is at about 2200 hours. Many sign-offs have been planned in Singapore during bunkering. Master is to be relieved, and after 6 long months, he is really looking forward to going home. Chief Officer is handing over the watch to the third mate. It is Steve's first contract as a duty officer. In fact, he has just joined the vessel in Sharjah only a few days back.
Captain will be up shortly. He is catching a couple of hours of rest. He will be awake all night after 2200 hours. In any case, give him a call if you are in doubt about anything at all or just before the alteration. Usually he will come up himself before that.
Okay, Chief. Well understood.
Handing over con to you then.
Con with me. Good night.
White light straight ahead.
Passing clear, Malcolm. Can see her red light.
The third mate is aware that he must use the radar fix as the primary position fixing method during a coastal passage. Well, this is his first opportunity as an officer of the watch.
That's strange. I have never seen this difference before. Am I making a mistake in my bearing and distance? Is it the state of the tide? How do I identify which part of the coast is visible on the radar? Let's wait and watch. What mistake am I making? The captain may come up anytime and may see me plotting a wrong position. No, can't let him see that.
Gents and the ladies. Lights, please. A brief recap. 150,000 tons being carried from the Gulf to Japan. First time third mate. A tired master, eager to go home. Could I have a mic out in the audience, please? I don't even want to say 90%, I'm 100% sure that all of you have gone through this at some point, this kind of a situation. What happens next? Could I have somebody? Yeah, Sushil?
Nothing. The captain comes up, he sees everything normal. If at all captain comes up, he calls up the captain, he probably writes his night orders, everything hunky-dory, he goes down back.
All right. Somebody else? Different point of view? What happens next? I'll give you, it's a spoiler. This is a true case. Huh? So I will tell you what actually happened after that. But what do you think happened next? Yes, sir?
Check. Okay. She's already grounded, probably. The position is down south of where he's actually been.
So she's not yet grounded.
Not
She's
yet.
moving.
Going towards the grounding. Yeah.
And there's ample time to correct the position. So what happens? All right. I will tell you what happens a little later. Let me go through with some of these less interesting slides, and then I'll come back to the incident. All right? Yeah. So what I've tried to do is create a common sense scale, because I attended the Global Met recently, and so many of you were there, and such wonderful presentations of where technology is taking us. So I thought I need to put this a little bit into a perspective which we all understand. So the left-hand side is a straight. It's a common sense scale from something which is poor to something that can be astonishing. 90 to 2030, well, except for a few of the youngsters and maybe Shaukat, he was born after in the 21st century. So most of us were there in the 90s, and hopefully by God's grace, some of us will be there until 2030. So I've put that as the living years. And I've tried to plot as to how the automation progressed from the time, in the early 80s. There were UMS chips even in the early 80s, but there was no connectivity. So I've tried to plot as to what happened, in the 90s, and where are we going? We are going to, from simple SCADA systems to unmanned ships. Somewhere close to 2010, we started realizing that we want more control. So all the simple SCADA systems, they were simple, so-called, but we wanted them all in our pocket. We wanted to have a screen in the office. We wanted to know what is the wind speed. We wanted to know what is the RPM. We wanted to know everything about what is happening on ship, on land. So that is how the speed of connectivity went. I think it was 128 kbps at that time, where we could do nothing. And, it's about 8 Mbps now, most ships. And we are looking at 100 Mbps in 2030, if we are going to have unmanned ships. Now, what is this line? Because in shipping, all the stalwarts here, unless there is a benefit, a tangible cost benefit, nothing changes. So the automation, as well as the speed of connectivity, it is not by, as a matter of being philanthropic or being very caring about the industry, but it saves money. Because it saves money, I have taken a mean of them, and tried to plot the actual benefit between the automation and the connectivity, which is astonishing. I mean, can you imagine if unmanned ships in their true sense start operating, the amount of money that's going to be saved? Fantastic. So what is this yellow line then? Really, this is the aptitude of the seafarer in learning about handling technology. I'm sure, I think 60, 70% must be having iPhone 13, 14 here, right? Or Samsung and, the flip phones and stuff like that. So we use technology, but really how much do we know about how it operates? Do we doubt enough? Or we just use it because we think it is completely safe and sound, and that is, that's like God. So this is seafarer's aptitude to handling technology. What is this then? This is really the gap between what we need to know, how far we are lagging behind. Now, when we talk of risk, in the Global Met, we had this presentation where somebody said that, he's going to come on board and within a week or two, 500 sensors are going to be fitted. Maybe $10,000, $20,000 it's going to cost. And maybe in 5 years' time, you're going to recover your money. So what is this risk we are talking about? Unfortunately, in the conventional sense, when we speak of risk, people say, "Arey, must be that $10,000, $20,000 we are going to lose." It doesn't work. Say it doesn't work. So what? It's a risk worth taking. Right? But that is not the risk. The risk is how you are exposing your systems to try and save that little bit of $10,000 or $20,000 in 3 to 5 years. And maybe after that. The risk we are talking about is the impact to the activity it's going to have. These 10, 20, 100, 500 sensors are going to use your vessel's Ethernet system to transfer data into the vendor's servers. You're going to open your doors and the vendor is going to say, no, don't worry. I'm going to install a special firewall. And how many vendors are going to say that? Plenty. So you have different vendors, different firewalls. There is not a central location in a ship management company where every password of every firewall is even there. In fact, it's so embarrassing sometimes. Even the Inmarsat and VSAT firewalls have got password admin 1, 2, 3, 4 from the time they were delivered. So that is the risk we are talking about. So how do we cover this risk? So we agree this is risk. And when there is risk, you are, this word comes up all the time. Training. But let's be realistic. Has this worked? And what kind of training are we really looking at? So while I take you around, into what training we are talking about, I will invite Devki to tell you about it. But to come back to a little episode, that ship touched bottom. What Sushil said was correct. Nothing happened. The master went on the bridge. He said, "Are you comfortable?" The third mate said, "Yes." He was happy that the master is going down. Doesn't matter, yeah. I'm sure the GPS is correct. I just can't identify. Now forget about GPS overlay. I know everybody must be inching to say, "Arey, why didn't he use this? He could have done that. He could have done lots of things." But you know what? He didn't. He didn't know. He didn't have the right kind of instinct. The ship touched bottom. And you know what? Nobody came to know until dry dock. So the master went home. Second mate third mate completed his contract. And then finally, when the vessel went into dry dock many, many months later, they found that it had got damaged. And they started working back. They started working and trying to find out as to how that could have happened, when it could have happened, where was the vessel plying. And then they went actually to their homes and had a full investigation. I have, of course, changed the name of the ship and a little bit of the location. Right, I'm going to hand over to Devki, who's going to take you through the training bit very, very quickly. Devki.
So the point that we are trying to make here is that when we talk of future skills, what we actually need is the ability to leverage technology with the risks that it comes with. So how do we acquire this ability? Training will be a very instinctive answer, but does training work? Or rather, in its present form, has training worked for us? It's been 20 decades since the safety management system has kicked in with numerous courses, checklists, drills, whatnot. But have our pilot ladder incidents or our enclosed space casualties really reduced? Not helping, right? So here is where we need, when we talk of maritime technology, we need the seafarers to have this ability to understand the risks that are involved with the technology that they are using. And hence, we need to replace training in its present form that we have it as we have today with visual aids that kick in a critical response at the time when it is most needed. Now, we are talking of a critical response, which is like an instinct. If we rely on memory of the seafarer who has learned the training or who has gone through, we know that it is not working because our seafarers are not able to recollect the information that is taught to them or that they have viewed or that is, or they have seen. It is important that this knowledge comes to use like an instinct. But mind you, instinct cannot be taught. Instinct needs to be developed, and instinct can be developed only slowly. It's like driving. You're not conscious about it while driving, but it's there, it's with you. You know what to do when. All of a sudden an emergency comes in, you know what is to be done. So that is why at EDOT Solutions, we believe that we need to empower our seafarers with technological awareness, the confidence, and the reasoning ability, which will not make them rely on technology blindly, and which will create a culture of learning that will make critical response as a conditioned reflex. That's why we are working on the EDOT visualization aid, which is our very own EVA, which strives to create an environment of learning wherein we are able to present content which is more engaging and entertaining and not just understood for the sake of passing exams, but something which they will apply when it is needed the most. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Captain Dayal and Devki. They are asking if there's any question in the house. Oh, okay. I see Andrew having a question. Yes. Andrew has a question. Captain Dayal, could you come here? Captain Dayal, could you come in here? Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. It's not so much of a question, it's more of an observation as well. I mean, the gamification tools that are out there are really, really good. So we've used these with a lot of the cadets and they really get into it, and it's a quick, open exercise. They enjoy it. So you're right, it's more of an interaction. I think you're never going to get away from the regulatory requirements, but there are lots of different tools, you know, cloud simulation where people can go into virtual like metaverse and actually interact with things. It's not the answer on itself, but it's an ecosystem of training solutions, right? So yeah, I applaud where you're trying to get to. Sounds good.
Yep. Thank you. We've gone one step ahead than the gamification. If you like Friends, we can have Friends for a company specific Friends serial with the same friends enacting different scenarios on board. different scenarios for learning. Try EEXI, EEDI, CII, the same set of friends enacting and teaching you that. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew, and thank you, Captain Dayal. Captain Dayal, if you could come on stage, please, and I call upon Shaukat Mukherjee and also Vensi Vegas to please come up on stage and join us on stage. I'd like to invite also on stage with us, Dr. Malini Shankar, who joined us in the afternoon, our guest of honor. Thank you for joining us, ma'am. Please come up on stage, ladies and gentlemen, dignitaries. Thank you so, so much. Captain. Thank you, Captain Vensi Vegas. That is, yes, a precious memento of our gratitude. Thank you, Devki, for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, Shaukat Mukherjee has something to say.
Yeah, there are some local seafarers who are attending this. I made sure that that Captain Vensi Vegas, and also we invite local seafarers to come. So who are the local seafarers who are here, please? Can we have you on stage for a group photograph? Local seafarers, can we have you? Goan seafarers, can we have you on stage? And Captain Nitin Dhon. Big round of applause for Captain Dhon, the owner of Angria. Yeah. Oh.
Oh, wow, that's a lot of.
Oh, that's about 75%.
Proud to be Goan seafarers. Yes, Marriott crew to please increase lights and lighting. Marriott crew, please increase the lighting.
Frank, Joe, Frank and Joe. Sagar. Sagar. Can we have more lights, please? Yeah, can we have the background off? Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us for the photograph. There is another leader that we would like to call upon stage and like the audio to be played, please.
Mr. Nipun Chatrak is a highly accomplished and skilled marine engineer who has worked as a superintendent, consultant surveyor, and chief engineer, and has exposure to oil majors working with pool operators like Hafnia. He is the founder of Fathom Marine Consultants Private Limited UK and has developed the Manomax Infinity platform, which has reality-based training solutions for the maritime industry using foundations of AR, MR, and XR. Fathom Marine Consultants aim to evolve with the technology available and induce it into training with hyperactive, interactive human learning. Nipun Chatrak has led in development of LNG bunkering in augmented reality and extended reality. Fathom became the first company in the maritime world to launch LNG bunker training in extended reality, starting with augmented reality.
Ladies and gentlemen, Captain Nipun Chatwin.
Thank you. First of all, it's chief engineer, not the captain. But I feel really good being addressed as the captain. I'm a little nervous because all the people who were my mentors are here. And this is my first speech here. So what a lovely audience I have today. And first of all, thanks to all the distinguished people here. Thank you, Mohan sir. You gave me my first job. Manoj Gandhi sir, you gave us the opportunity to be the pioneers in developing this technology and making C-SPAN one of the pioneers in introducing augmented reality into the industry. And before I speak about augmented reality, I would like to speak about what augmented reality is, what extended reality is, what metaverse is, how the industry today is ripe to benefit from the use of AR, MR, ER, XR, and metaverse for future skill enhancement in several ways. So AR is the technology which can be used to provide visual aids to students, such as overlay of digital information on real-world scenarios and environments. In maritime education and training, AR can be used to provide visual aids to trainees, such as showing them the correct way to perform a task or providing them the real-time information about the surroundings. For example, AR can be used to overlay digital images of navigation equipments on the real-world environment, allowing them to practice using the equipment in a simulated environment. We talk about MR, which is mixed reality, which has both AR and VR. It is to create more immersive experience for the trainee in the maritime education and training. This can be used to create realistic simulations of complex maritime scenarios, such as navigation through a busy harbor or dealing with an emergency situation like CO2 extinguish system to be used. MR can be used to provide trainees with a more realistic experience working on board the ships, allowing them to practice all operations at home or in the facilities. Whereas XR, it encompasses AR, VR, and MR technologies. For example, XR can be used to provide trainees with a situational awareness in the navigation of the ships. Now that I've spoken about all, I would speak about the AR, which is augmented reality, and what we have developed. So here are some examples how AR can be beneficial for the industry. It helps immerse, as we know that today learning is changing. Immersive learning makes you more confident in the real world. Here are some examples like training and simulations. This can provide immersive training experience for maritime personnels, and it can simulate complex scenarios in a safe and controlled environment. It does take care of the carbon footprint. It also helps receive hands-on training on the machinery and the equipment, allowing them to gain practical experience without the risk of injury. It optimizes the processes. It also can be used for remote assistance. Now, AR and MR can provide remote assistance to seafarers with the repair specialist sitting in the office or at home. The expert can guide the seafarer through the repair process via video call or an AR goggles. This can save time and reduce costs associated with the deployment of specialized personnel. AR tablets will have a digital twin of the equipment, which makes it simpler for the seafarer to troubleshoot the problems in reality. I see many seafarers here would would you ever imagine carbon dioxide system on the augmented reality? Yes or no? I don't hear. Yes, I think I see a lot of nods in yes. And what about inspections and maintenance? We spoke about maintenance, but how about the inspections? So inspections of ships and port facilities can be done by augmented reality. These technologies can help identify potential issues before they become major problems, saving time and money. For example, drone equipped with AR can inspect hard to reach areas of a ship or port facility, while technicians can use AR glasses to view equipment manuals and identify parts. Imagine your manuals on AR, which can have your parts just zooming and zoom out as a real world. Would that not be beneficial? It would be. Then the third or fourth, I would say, navigation and operation. I've already spoken about it, but by overlaying the real-time data onto the real world, seafarers can make more informed decisions, enhancing safety and efficiency. For example, AR headset can display the ship's speed, direction, and position, as well as information about the weather and sea conditions. And how about collaborating and communicating? Today, we talk about metaverse, which is the next step in the development of the internet and the hub. So XR and metaverse can facilitate collaboration and communication among maritime stakeholders. For example, virtual meetings and conferences can be held in shared virtual space, allowing stakeholders from different locations to collaborate and share information in real time. Do I make sense? Okay. Since Shaukat asked me to quickly finish it off. So in conclusion, I would like to thank C-SPAN, Captain Manoj Gandhi sir, to have shown so much of confidence in the technology and be one of the pioneers in introducing that kind of training to C-SPAN. So this also makes C-SPAN one of the first companies to launch LNG bunker training in AR. So does us. And I would like to request everyone here, let's join hands in bringing the technology to the maritime industry, which is ripe at the moment. And we are at the juncture where we must put our engines full ahead in supporting such technologies to enhance future skills. Today, the skill needs to know what the resource needs to know what skills would help them operate the autonomous or almost automatic vessels. So we need to join hands and put our engines full ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chatrat, for that briefing for all of us. I think you'll have to come back on stage. Captain Shaukat Mukherjee would like to present a token of appreciation and gratitude. So I'd like to call upon Andrew to please come here and do the honors on behalf of FSM. Thank you, Mr. Chatrat. Thank you, Andrew. Okay, so now we are going into a completely different section, actually. I'd like to call upon some more stalwarts into the room onto the dais. I would like the audios to be played, please.
Captain Sanjay Maini joined International Registries Incorporated and its affiliates, IRI, in 2007 as country head, Indian subcontinent, and established the Mumbai office. IRI provides administrative and technical support to the Republic of the Marshall Islands Maritime and corporate registries. Captain Maini has more than 20 years of experience at sea, including 8 years spent as a master on tankers. Captain Maini is on the technical committee of the Indian Register of Shipping, the advisory board of various maritime committees, and is a founding member of the Maritime Awareness Program Society, MAPS. He is on the executive committee of the Dufferin Rajendra Chanakya Ex-Cadets Association. He is an avid golfer and has been instrumental in setting up many golf tournaments in Maharashtra.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Captain Sanjay Maini.
Captain Deepak is the COO of Elegant Marine Services, which is the crewing wing of Fleet Management Limited, a Caravel Group company. He has been involved in marine HR since 2005 and has worked with some of the largest ship management companies in the world. Captain Deepak sailed for 17 years, starting his sailing career with Larsen & Toubro Shipping. He is an active member of the Company of Master Mariners of India and is on the governing council of Training Ship Rahman. Ladies and gentlemen, Captain Deepak Korea.
Yes, Captain Deepak Korea couldn't actually he's stuck up in office. That's why he couldn't be here with us. But we will continue with our dignitaries on stage.
Captain Sanjay Maini.
I'd also like to call upon Captain Arun Mehta, Managing Director, Thome India Private Limited, to please come up on stage and join us for this chat. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Captain Arun Mehta. Also like to call upon Francesco Gariglo, Chief Executive Officer, International Maritime Employers Council. Thank you, Francisco. Thank you for joining us.
Captain Manoj Gandhi is ex-Rajendra with his initial years with the Shipping Corporation of India, and later he worked with Wallam Ship Management Limited, where he spent 23 years from Master to Vice President, Fleet Personnel Operation. He is associated with C-SPAN for the last 10 years and is presently the Director, Fleet Personnel at C-SPAN Crew Management Limited, Vancouver, and General Manager of C-SPAN Crew Management India Private Limited. He is based in Mumbai and oversees the fleet personnel operation of 122 C-SPAN owned and managed vessels. He is excited about the USD $10 billion C-SPAN new building program underway, consisting of 70 container vessels ranging from 7,000 TEUs to 24,000 TEUs. 13 vessels have been delivered and 57 vessels will be delivered by the end of 2024. An avid reader, Captain Gandhi harbors interest in business financials. He loves to spend quality time with his family, friends, and AMP batchmates, and of course at conferences like the Future Skills Maritime.
Ladies and gentlemen, Captain Manoj Gandhi, please join us. We also have
Captain Varshney is a product of the 1983-85 batch of T.S. Rajendra. He completed his cadetship in the famous company Scindias and then spent 3 years sailing in Wallam Ship Management till 1999. Later, he sailed in V ships as master for 10 years until 2011, after which he joined IMI Noida, heading the institute as the CEO since 2014. Captain Varshney is highly regarded in the industry for his knowledge and experience in developing quality training for students of maritime.
Ladies and gentlemen, Captain Varshney. I would like to call upon Captain Sanjay Maini to lead the moderation of this.
Check.
Test.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I've been let on to a little secret by Captain Mukherjee that we are running late. So the session that was going to be for 45 minutes, I'm going to just finish it now, say thank you, and we can just go and party. Do you want to do that? Okay. Thank you, Captain Mukherjee, for hosting this event. This is the first time I'm attending it. Is it the first time that you're organizing it? Okay, so this is the first. Okay, you're going to regret it. Now, I'm very fond of talking, as you can make out, and you can see my notes. These are my opening remarks. But now that he's already had me here and I want to be invited again, I'm going to limit it to just one paragraph. First of all, let me welcome the learned speakers, our panelists. All of you know who they are. They didn't need that big introduction. What we're going to talk about today is innovation and key trends that will impact the future of the maritime industry. Now, this is a very interesting topic. All of you are going to love this. Yes? Yes. Especially the cadets. Because all of us who are sitting here in this room, apart from the cadets, have done with sailing part of it. And all this is going to actually affect the sailing, which these young cadets are going to be experiencing very shortly. Innovation is primarily a positive change. It is a way of doing the same thing in a newer method. It is always not very good. I mean, I'm going to be very honest with you. But whether it is good or bad, whether it affects the industry in a negative or a positive fashion, is only dictated by the mindsets of the people who actually implement it. I'm not going to go deep into it. That's why we have them here. But there was one very common saying, I think everyone knows about this, that the only constant in life is change. This is attributed to a Greek philosopher. His name was let me just pronounce it correctly, Mr. Heraclitus. Change. As we sit here, all of our bodies are undergoing a change right now. Your cells are changing right now. And they will keep on changing till you die. As far as shipping is concerned, one thing will never change. And that is, shipping will always be about carrying cargo. That will never change. But the how and why of it will continuously change, as it has changed from times immemorial. You agree with me? So that is why it's very interesting. It's a vast topic. That is why we have two sessions of this, one now and one tomorrow. Thankfully, I'm not doing so you're going to be spared of me tomorrow. That's another namesake is going to do it. I also have seen a hoarding in a country not many years ago, I think about 10, 12, 13, 14 years ago, and it said, 20 years of progress without change.
It said this exactly, middle of a highway when I was transiting that place. And it said 20 years of progress without change. When my wife is unhappy with my way, she also says, you have not changed at all. And with that, I'm going to ask and get this session started. Gentlemen, we only have 5 minutes, 1 minute each. But I would like to make this session, whatever time we have, interactive. Please ask relevant questions to our panelists so that we can all go away from this little wiser. And when we are actually getting wise after, during the entertainment, when we actually think we are getting wiser and wiser, maybe we'll be wiser. And we'll have a lot of things to talk about. So with this, may I ask Captain Arun Mehta to please start the proceedings.
All right, thank you, sir. Thank you. And I think we are standing between you and the evening now. So apologies for that. We'll try to keep it short. I don't know, the initial brief has been shortened by, I think, 1/5 or something, Shaukat, as I understand. But I think I don't need more than 1.5 minutes on this. Because one of the things I think we've been talking about technology, changing trends, innovation coming into the industry. I think this is not something new. The one big thing which has changed is the rate at which it is now starting to pour in. And it's like under a waterfall now, and then you are just a deluge. It's a constant change on a daily basis. And what we are looking at from a skills perspective was the idea was to look at and say, what I'm going to talk about is about the fact that what are the skill sets which are required to step ashore from a seagoing career. So for the cadets, maybe by the time you come to this whole paradigm might shift again. But you can listen or not on this. But the fact of the matter is that at the same time, we need to look at also the fact is that, and I want to build a continuum. I want to actually do a paradigm shift in a thought process over here, is that instead, there's always been a path ashore from the sea life. But it has been a very stringent, rigid, and a very specific one. There are only specific roles in which you could move ashore. There were only specific tasks which were available to seafarers to do traditionally. Yeah? And that thing, if we really want, that has also resulted in, along with the fact that the new generation today is trying to look at shipping in a light that it is 7 years, 10 years down the line. What do I do with this? What do I do with this career? The newer generation is not looking at career as a one-time singularity of choice. They are looking at a multi-pluralistic sort of multi-path approach where every 5 years they can sort of reinvent themselves and see whether this particular career suits me still or not, or me, her, him, anyone. And in that kind of an environment where change is, like you said, is a complete constant today, and we are way behind the curve when we look at, and we are not congruent with and not coherent with the expectations and the aspirations of the youth today. No wonder we are not being able to attract seafarers to the profession. Now, if we look at seafaring as a continuum which allows us, because of the skill sets we develop, or allows us the ability to have a skill set which develops, which can enable a person to be able to be absorbed after that 10 years and give them a plethora of choices, or 10 or 15 or 7 years, whatever, plethora of choices to step ashore, not only in the traditional roles, but into a wide variety of roles which this industry is going to be exposed to. We are talking about, we heard about decarbonization. I call them the 3 Ds, digitalization, decarbonization, and diversity. And this 3 itself, as the industry moves into these and starts embracing these and starts trying to work around its way around ESG goals and things like that, and the constant change nature when we're looking at diversity, when we're looking at diversity, we're also talking about the fact is we are generally talking about gender diversity. What we're not looking at is age diversity. 40% of the seafarers are going to be Gen A, Gen Z by the time 2030, 2040 comes around, in the next decade, at the turn of the next decade. And we need to take that into account. So there's going to be a plethora of opportunities which will open. The seafarer of today will not be what is the seafarer of tomorrow. That's the requirement today of the skill set. But if we can create a paradigm shift and say that we need to empower seafarers with other holistic skills which can allow them to transition into the greater maritime domain, then we will have bridged the actual skill gap. That is the trend which we need to embrace, rather than to look at as two separate parts, a seagoing career versus a career ashore. It has to be a continuum which needs to be coming in. The advantages to the seafarer: ability to move into a career and then progress as and change as and when required. To the organizations, you get a talent pool which you can hone today. For what we were talking about, that whoever are the seafarers coming in today, ships coming in today, are they going to be around for the next 15, 20, 25 years? So there is for the organizations, they can hone in-house talent, and in-house talent which can groom in and go around. And for the industry per se, I don't see, if the choice is given to the youth today of adapting or of getting into a career which can actually allow you to move around within the broader domain of maritime and beyond, then why would they not be willing to take this on? If it is a dead-end career at the end of 10 years, where 80% of the people don't know how to step ashore and do something else, then that is not at all congruent with what is the expectation of the new generation and the youth. And I think that is a paradigm shift we need to have in our approach to what should be future skills. And I think if that, and so I think what Shaukat is talking about, future skills in maritime, I think it's a very opportune time for us to think about this and move in that particular direction.
Thank you, Arun. I think I can think of many questions to ask him, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave it to you. I'm going to go and ask any one of you or two of you, maximum 2 questions, so that his talk is very fresh in your mind. If I leave it till the end speaker, you'll probably have forgotten what I said. So if you have any questions, please. Nobody. Oh, you're very clear in your thoughts. I have a question for you, Arun. Okay, we'll come, but I have a question for him. Why do we need the seafarers to step ashore? Why can't they just be seafarers, continue sailing, have all that experience that they gain? You know, today the seafarers, when they're 10 years, 5 years at sea, they're looking to step ashore. Now, if we give them tools to actually step ashore, they will start stepping ashore after 3 or 4 years. In our times, I sailed for 24 years. Even, I think most of us. Why should we need to step ashore? What is there ashore? Why can't we continue to be taught to be proper sailors? And I know sailors who are 68, 70, and they're still sailing. Look at the experience that they gain, and they're keeping it at sea. And if these people start stepping ashore, they're taking away that experience and bringing it ashore, and those ashore actually don't contribute to what happens at sea. So what do you think about that?
It's a very interesting question, and I think there are. I would make 2 points on that. One point is that, or 3 actually. One point is that there is a generational shift in what the new generation is expecting. They are not, like I said, they're not looking at a singularity of a career choice, and this is not just limited to shipping or maritime. This is, if you look around, it is across the board with the youth. And the reason why that is there probably is because the world is changing, like we said, at such a rapid pace now, that if they continue to do, they'll just be left behind. So there is a need, there is an inherent tectonic need underneath for that. The second thing I think is there is definitely going to be, like you said, some brain drain which is going to happen. But I have a good sense of feeling that there is also going to be a suction pull back in. There's going to be a vacuum created which is going to allow, provided we do it correctly. The last point which is there about having people continue to stay on board. I think even if you look today, okay, if you look at a senior master or a senior, say, a chief engineer or even a mate, they want to do one contract in a year, 5 months, 4 months. So I think there has to be a choice built in. And once you have this, it'll be a continuum. It is not going to be that the paradigm is not going to be you're on ship or ashore. It's going to be a continuum. So you can back and forth circle in and out of this if you want to. So it allows for a choice, I think.
Thank you very much, Arun. We'll move forward. May I ask Captain Vashne to now share his thoughts? He's from the training background. And let's get trained before we ask the employers.
Yeah. Thank you, Sanjay. Thank you very much. So I've been associated with pre-C training since 2001. I think each one of the stalwarts present here has been a cadet at the beginning of his career. So that's how important the pre-C training is. It's the cornerstone of shipping. A cadet is the cornerstone of shipping. I am here to speak to you about the diversity, how to get the right talent, how to attract the right talent, and how to retain the right talent. Now, when I started in 2001, we did not have a single girl cadet. And now we are in 2023, out of 380 cadets that I have in my institute, we have only 8 girl cadets. So now what is happening after class 12th? 50% of the students who have cleared class 12th, who are eligible for this career, are going out of the equation. Why? Because our profession is not seen as a gender neutral profession. It is seen as a bastion of males only. So our choice is reduced to 50%. Then another thing that Captain Arun talked about, this generation which is coming now, it wants more from life. The C career, if it does not give them everything that they require, they'll just move out of this career. They are here and they have got their goals clear. They come here with an expectation, and when they find out that there's more in life than what the career is offering them, so they just move out. We have so many boys who have passed out from our institute. These boys who are joining now, they are very tech savvy and they understand technology. The technology that you're talking about, the technology itself is going to be tried and tested. And only the user-friendly technology, which is easier to use, is going to stay. Now, these boys, what happens? They come into this profession expecting a few things which they have already set which is put in their mind. So when they find that it is not what they were expecting, they go into a career of finance, they go into a career, they do MBA, and they move on in profession. They don't even wait for getting a command. You see? So they are very clear in their mind what they want from life. The attention span of this generation is very short. You can't keep them hooked on to a thing which does not interest them for very long. A sea career has changed tremendously, Captain Manny, from when we were sailing. We used to get shore leave. We used to get time in port. There were 60 people on board. Now there are 20 people on board. There's loneliness. One of the girl cadets wrote back to us, being a single girl on board is a very formidable thing. It's a very challenging task. So the loneliness catches up with the girls. So we have to be perceived by the society that we are taking all these steps to make it a women-friendly profession, sir. We are doing a lot of things to attract girls, but it is not readily apparent to the society at large. We have got a lot of girl cadets who passed out of our institute and who are a very big success. So we have to showcase these girls who have made a success out of this profession. And we have to get the other girls interested. We have to get their parents interested into this profession. Only then we will be able to get a truly gender neutral profession. You know, we must have at least 10%. We should aim for 10%. We have got now 2%, which Andrew said we had 2%. And actually in our institute, we have 2%. So we should aim at least for 10% and then progressively increase it to 20, 25 and 30%. You know, we must have at least 2-3 girls on board, which is a policy which many companies are having. So that is about it. I think we need to evolve as a profession to attract the right talent into the profession.
Thank you, Saurabh. That was interesting. I'm sure there are many questions, and I'm sure a lot of you will like to share your thoughts on this, because this is the current very, very hot topic all across the board in all conferences. When I was a cadet in 1982, I actually sailed with girl cadets, but they were not Indian. So we as a country in this particular thing are way behind than the rest. And I'm sure I have a lot of questions and I would have liked to ask that to a girl cadet, but I think she's already gone. So we'll move on and hold on to your questions, and we'll come to that later. I ask Captain Gandhi to please now share his thoughts on this innovation and future trends.
Okay. Thank you for being so attentive and listening on. My audience is going to be more as the digital ones who are listening to us. It will be the seafarers. You know, the future skills everywhere in any industry, you have to keep on improving on it, keep on learning what's coming new. And that's what we as we do a show, they should keep on building on it. Like now we have the EXSI, we have this CII, you know, these are energy efficiency existing system index or the carbon intensive index. Now, these are the new regulations that have come in. There would be company courses on it. There would be information on the internet on it. Get yourself ready for it so that when you go on board, you are aware about the compliance issues that are there with it. So these are the things that you have to look at. Now, if I just explain to you these, it has been touched by so many people on the dais and who have spoken about it. Now, this is a major shift. IMO wants you to reduce 40% of your carbon emission by 2030. How many years are left? 7 years. And to do that, there is a lot of work being done. Are the seafarers aware about it? Are the general public aware about it? No. Now, the ships have to be modified. The bulbous bows are being changed. The propellers are being made more efficient. The paint is being changed so that you can comply with the formula that is there, which is the deadweight, the BHP, and the speed. So they have a component, and it is from A to E. If you fall in E or D, you have to come to C by 3 years. And if you don't come, your ship cannot trade anymore. That's the implication. Now, these are the things that people should be aware of. You should educate yourself. Each company would be having courses on it. Go through it. Be available for it. And go ahead and do it. Similarly, now the alternate fuels that have come in. We have gone into dual fuel, LNG. We've got 25 ships under built. The first one has just come out. The courses are available in India. IGF, basic, advanced. You have to sail for 1 month. The companies are arranging for that on an LNG vessel. You have to do one bunkering. People who are dealing with this I mean, that's the senior management on board the ship have to have those certifications. So come forward, get the skill sets. It would only enhance your career in shipping, and there's no need to go ashore. You can make a beautiful career on board the ships. Exactly, it is. I mean, you can make a beautiful career on board the ships. The contract periods are short. When we sailed, it was 9 months. It's 4 months. You have broadband on board the ships. I mean, we have gone in, you're going to have satellites roving around this thing. Broadband connectivity will go similar to what is on ashore. That's what would be the broadband connectivity. So that's what we should look at. You should look at what each owner builds a ship over and above the standard that is there. Safety standards are there. So when you go on a ship, check what are the additional features that are available. Get yourself familiar with that. I give an example. We, on our ships, we have got, our firefighting equipment is far ahead of what is the regulation. We have on board equipment which can pierce a container on the 4th tier and flood a container instead of just doing boundary cooling. So use this, implement it, practical training, do it. Similarly, carriage of, you've got EV, that's electric vessels, electric vehicles, or lithium batteries. Our suggestions to our recommendations are far higher than what IMDG requirements are, because we know what the threat is. So these are the things. Similarly, also for a lashing of containers, we go far beyond the class requirements. We just lost, after 13 years, 2 containers now. We never lost containers because of that. So these are the things that you should look at, and move on with this career. This is one of the best careers possible. You should not think about changing this career. It gives you flexibility of time ashore. It's quality time ashore you get when you're sailing. And now with this connectivity, you can be in touch with your near and dear ones on a daily basis. I can continue long and long, but I'll stop here.
Thank you, Manoj. I understand where you're coming from. And I'm sure the audience also is preparing a question for you. We will move on to our last but not the least panelist, Mr. Francesco from IMEC. Before you give your thought, Francesco, can you just tell us a little bit about IMEC? I'm sure a lot of people know about IMEC, but a lot of people don't. So this is basically for the cadets. Yeah, the seafarers. Are there any seafarers here apart from the cadets? No, there are only 2% left now. I mean, look back. Rest. So I'm only talking to them. This is very important that you hear what he has to say. And I'm going to ask you a question at the end. Okay? I'm not going to let you ask me a question or them. I'm going to ask you a question. So keep awake. Okay? Don't think about your girlfriends. Okay? Francisco, please.
Thank you. And thank you for having me. I'm sorry for my voice. The air conditioning is starting to get to my voice. IMEC. How do I define IMEC in a couple of words to be brief? We are sustainability champions. That's what we like to think of ourselves as. What do? Our core business is collective bargaining. So we negotiate fair terms and conditions of employment for seafarers around the world with ITF affiliate unions. So the agreements we negotiate are deemed to be fair and equitable by the Global Federation of Seafarers. Is that all we do? Actually, it isn't. Sustainability for us is not just about the agreements we negotiate and making sure that seafarers are looked after and employed on fair conditions, but we also look at the future. And this is where I'm happy to be sitting in this particular panel, because one of the things that we pride ourselves of is we actually are involved, and I mean hands-on involved with the creation of the workforce of the future. We run cadet programs, and I use the plural, and I can use it for the first time because in the past, we've been associated with the cadet program in the Philippines, which produces in the region of 200, 250 graduates every year who join the fleet of our members. I should have pointed out that IMEC is an association. We are the International Maritime Employers Council. So we represent employers in the maritime sector around the world. We have around 270 companies that are our members, and they're the who's who of shipping. Many of them are in this room, but we literally represent the great majority of all employers at sea. What we do, we actually use some of the funds that come from the collective bargaining activities we conduct with the ITF to actually train up seafarers and to also pioneer training courses that would otherwise not see the light of day, because a lot of employers might actually be a bit hesitant to put money into something that's unproven, something that it's not tried and tested out there. This is where we come in. We're the guys with the torch in the dark, trying to actually, I say, mine the periphery. We look at what's coming up behind the horizon. So having said all this, one of the big things that we're doing this week, that's one of the reasons that I'm here, apart from obviously being here at FMS, is we're looking to launch a cadet program in India, which will be involving a number of maritime training institutions here in the country. So we're going to be visiting a few of them. We're going to be doing a bit of a whistle-stop tour over the next 7 to 10 days. We're also introducing something similar in South Africa. We're looking at a number of manpower supply countries that are either established like India is, or we think have potential to become established going forward. Now, as far as us looking ahead, looking at trends, looking at innovation and technology, what that means for the skills of this future seafarers we're looking to train up, I agree. There are challenges when it comes to them looking at this as a full life career. And we know that jobs for life no longer exists and people want change. So I completely agree that we need to be able to provide these cadets with the opportunities that they need to look at this as a full life. And so they also need change. We do need to look at the other 50%. That's absolutely 100% something we are already doing. In fact, one of the main reasons for us going to South Africa is because we are aware that in South Africa, students in maritime college are around 40% female in some cases, in fact, in most cases. So for us, the answer to diversity and the lack of diversity in our industry comes also looking at countries that are already doing this and actually trying to increase those numbers exponentially, in fact. And of course, new fuels. New fuels were clearly one of the biggest challenges out there, because new fuels means new engines. It means new technology that engineers in particular are going to have to deal with. All of those things are part of some that we are working on. We're working on with both the ITF, i.e. the employees representatives, but also the International Chamber of Shipping, which is the Global Association of National Ship Owners Association. So we're looking at this from an employee perspective, from an employer perspective, and from a perspective of the people that actually produce, or rather own the tonnage, own the technology, own the decision-making power to actually look at what's coming next. Have they missed anything? I mean, there's all sorts of challenges out there. What would I add? Personally, I'd say, and I'd like to give it a more positive spin. I'd say that one of the things that's missing from this picture is automation. And automation is not necessarily a negative thing when it comes to the people skills. And in fact, the lack of attractiveness as it is perceived sometimes by this industry. For me, automation is actually the key to making this industry more sustainable. And again, that word sustainability keeps coming back in anything we do as far as IMEC is concerned, because in my eyes, BIMCO and ISF or ICS in reality in its new version, keep telling us that we have a shortage of officers and we're going to have a massive shortage of officers there and massive shortage of skills there and so on and so forth. In my eyes, the future looks like semi-automation, i.e. the officers that are short now will actually no longer be required because we will need less people on the ship. And in fact, in some cases, some of those skills will be skills that will be required in operation centers ashore, operation centers that will look at remotely controlling these vessels. And we're not talking about all vessels. We're only talking about certain type of vessels that obviously lend themselves to this particular approach. But the reality is that development in the industry, more technological ships that have better access to communication in all sorts of cases, means that a different caliber of seafarer will need to be formed, and also a different kind of person will be attracted to this particular career. The kind of person that currently is attracted to perhaps a more sedentary job will perhaps be attracted to doing a job that is that involves them basically operating ashore in a control center, in a remote control center. There's other people that don't want to go to sea because they want to see their kids every day. They'll be able to do this and see their kids every day. I mean, I was a seafarer. Why did I come ashore? I was loving my life as a seafarer, particularly on cruise ships. It was perhaps a little bit better than most other ships. But the reason I came ashore is because I wanted to have kids and I wanted to be there for them when they grew up. So I've got 3 boys and I made sure that I spend as much time as I can. I'm not traveling to India and the Philippines with them. This is the sort of opportunity that society and the new generations are looking for, which actually automation can give them, and it can allow us to make sure we have the manpower, the qualified manpower we need. So what will it need? It will need us to implement a seismic shift in terms of how we do training, because the skills that you need to run a ship today are going to be obsolete by the time people that start college today come out and become officers. And that's what we need to think about. We're working with the tonnage owners on basically making sure we put things in place so that there is a just transition, a transition from where we are now to where we need to be in 5 years, in 10 years' time. And those are the sort of things that we're trying to focus on. I could go on forever, but I realize I've got the graveyard shift and I'm in between you and dinner. So perhaps I'll stop here, yeah?
Thank you very much, Francesco. I think that was very nice. Okay, before I ask the cadets a question, the floor is open for you to ask the panelists a question. Anybody? I mean, yes, sir. Ruchan.
Thank you, sir.
So they address it to one person.
I can't. It's a joint question to everybody.
Okay.
All right, because we spoke about training, and then we came to why seafarers are leaving sailing. And I want to get to where training is concerned. And when you spoke about CAII and EEXI and EEDI and how we need to get trained, or the seafarers need to get trained, I think it's imperative, whether it is decarbonization or whether it is technology, that while we tell them that you need to know this, it's important to tell them that you don't need to know so many other things. Because I don't see how a chap going on board is going to make any difference in his daily nuances of the trade on board by knowing the history of EEXI and from the 90s to 2008 baseline. By the time he reaches 2018, he's ready to look for an alternative career. I mean, what do you expect him to do? You have the program of class. You are getting your CII rating on a daily basis. You have no right to plan the cargo. The cargo planning, the voyages, everything is being done by the office. Or if you are going to change your propulsion, it's going to be decided by the management.
What is the question?
So the question is, this is not a question, is rather a point as to, it is important if we want people to keep sailing and loving the life out at sea, we need to tell them what they don't need to know. Yes, it's great to know that, what we are doing. We only emit 1.5 or 2%, correct me if I'm wrong, sir, of the greenhouse gases, where shipping is the cleanest mode of transport. So we need to tell them what we don't need to know. But if you know it, it's fantastic. The same with technology. We don't need to know DDoS or, the data logger or a man in the middle attack.
Okay, I get the point. Anybody wants to respond to that?
I can
Or
just
to the
say that,
observation?
you have to record your energy efficiency on board the ship. So for that, they have to have a knowledge. And that's where my this thing came, that you have to have an idea what's happening on this thing.
Yeah.
So that's what was.
Basically, he's telling you what the cadets don't need to know. And there are certain things that they need to know more importantly. So I think that's that's a debatable point. Anybody else has any question? Please.
I'm Gabriel Pinto, Chief Engineer and Vice President of Go and Seamen Association of
Can you repeat that, please, sir?
I am Gabriel Pinto, Chief Engineer and the Vice President of Go and Seamen Association of India. As one of the panelists said, it is a proven fact that a lot of these new entrants into the shipping industry, they leave the shipping job in between and look for another job. My question is, in these courses that are constituted now in some of the colleges, is there any lineage planned in the universities itself or the colleges that when these guys are trained, and if they leave the job in between, that they can have the continuity instead of falling back?
Okay. Arun, do you want to take that?
Okay, thank you. I think if I understand your question correctly, is that you're talking about is basically when people step out of their sea shoes, then how can they come back into it, and what are the regulatory frameworks which are there? Am I correct in summarizing your question?
That's correct, sir.
Okay. So I think regulatory frameworks are existing as of today, but you're absolutely right that we need to, when we start looking at newer skills and newer ways, then we need to also equally participate along with the regulatory bodies to come up not just with the frameworks in isolation, but it has to be something where there has to be a concurrent, congruent approach which the regulatory bodies have to take into account. So you just heard about something called just transition. And if you see, this just transition is something which is not something which is, it has been taken up from ILO's perspective. It is there. There is a nice initiative on decarbonization and the skills required for the future. It is also something which has been taken up from after COP26, which was held. So if you look at those, there are frameworks which are existing, but I do appreciate and I understand that and accept that there has to be a much more cohesive approach and much more collaborative approach when it comes to this,
Thank you, Arun. I think that's, we'll have to call it a day here because we are really running out of time. The question to the cadets, I'm going to ask you in the evening. Okay, I'm going to catch one of you and I'm going to ask you in the evening. Okay, thank you so much, everyone here. I think we were a little short of time because this session is really interesting. The topic is very interesting and we could have gone on and on. I think the next session tomorrow will be a little more longer and we can participate with more questions there. I'm sure they're going to say the same thing. So, but it'll be said in a different way. Okay, thank you so much and really appreciate you coming all this way to Goa. And now it's time to party after Shaukat has finished his moderation. I'm going to time you, Shaukat. It's going to be not more than 10 minutes, okay?
Thank you, Captain Naini. Thank you, panelists. Please remain on stage. I'd like to invite Dr. Malini Shankar to please come and join us and Captain Shankalp Sukla to please come up to help us give the mementos of gratitude. All right. Captain Talwar, if you're in the audience, please join us on stage. Captain Talwar. Thank you. just to this amazing panelist for sharing all the thoughts. And let's hear that applause. I think, yes, I know we have a little bit of an energy. Don't worry, we have an excellent gala night coming up. Well, I think that's that. Yes, there's this one person, Captain. Thank you, Dr. Malini Shankar. Thank you, Captain Talwar. And thank you to the team that was on stage with us. Yes, and as Captain rightly pointed out, is the time for Captain Shaukat Mukherjee to now take his time and team on stage. Now, I request the audios to be played. I also request that as your name is being called out, I would like you to come in the interest of time. Please come up on stage and join us here. Audios, please.
Team Shaukat is a master mariner, an entrepreneur, a certified life purpose life. He challenged himself when he met Kolkata, India. He joined Anglo-Eastern Hong Kong as junior engineer in 1994 and became chief engineer in 2001. He joined the Anglo-Eastern NGO as a guest of honor speaker. He keeps himself busy with several organizations working closely for seafarers and students and offering a helping hand wherever and whenever he sees the opportunity. Ladies and gentlemen, Captain Sudhir Subedar.
Captain Subedar, please join us on stage. Yes.
Komal is a 23-year-old lawyer in the making, an alternative dispute resolution enthusiast, the youngest certified and practicing international mediator in the country. She has co-authored a legal anthology, worked as a legal advisor for various startups, and specializes in corporate and family settlements. She represented India as well as Asia in Poland for a negotiation and mediation tour. Dr. Deepthi is the founder of Mindspeak and is a professional development trainer and consultant. She has a doctorate in multiple intelligence and is certified as a psychometric assessor by Thomas International Management Systems Limited, UK. She is an appointed member in the Doctoral Committee, DC, by IMU Chennai for life coaching. She has been conducting sessions on mental health and well-being for seafarers to empower them to handle emotional disturbances. She also conducts psychological first aid training for seafarers with an objective to help troubled seafarers on board. Dr. Mankad is certified in counseling children and adolescents by Academic Studies. She has won several awards, which includes Young Women Achiever Award by the Help Yourself Foundation in 2019. On 31st January of 2023, Dr. Deepthi Mankad won the Top 100 Healthcare Icons 2023 award by HypeEdge Media. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Deepthi Mankad.
I would also like to call Ritu as a special guest on the stage with us, and also Savan Paner, the cadet from IMS Goa, and Patron Cardoso, cadet IMS Goa, to please join us on stage. And also Jari, please come up on stage from Ganpat University. Please come up.
Okay, so this is going to be, I've got a threat from Captain Maini. It's actually a threat. So yeah, 10 minutes. But then if you want to go away for 10 minutes, I don't stop you. Normally people don't want to go away when I'm speaking, so it's okay. So 10 minutes and 5 minutes more for the, so we're going to stand here and do this session. want to sit. This is going to be a very impromptu session on working with millennials, right? So working with millennials means that we have a lot of millennials working in our offices on board ships. There's a huge gap. And can we have the LED just can we stand so that we can all the audience can see the LED, please? Yeah, screen. Yeah, mind your gap. Yeah. Oh, if you step back, there will not be any other gap. Right. So there's a huge gap. This photo was shared to me in the morning by Captain Subedar. Right. So yeah, mind your gap. Can we have the next slide? Oh, I have this on here. So we have a lot of people with different age groups working on the ships, working ashore. Most of the people, including me, perhaps, we don't know how to work with each other, when especially there's a huge culture gap between us. I'm very proud to say that in my company, 75 to 80%, because I've kept that 20% on mentorship, who mentors me, but 80% of our staff and employees are within the age group 20 to 25, right? And I have learned things, sometimes the hard way, of how to work with people. So I'm going to play a game now, and we're going to have questions, right? So we have juniors and we have seniors, not exactly standing in that order, but we have juniors and seniors, and she's saying, no. Okay, so you want to come to the junior level? No, everybody, no. And then I'll come here. Yeah. But that's the seniors, right? Yeah. So J means junior. So when I put up a question, I said J, so only juniors can answer. And when I put up a question which says S, only seniors can answer. So that's how the game is. And please, you've got to support us. No juniors should answer out of turn. No seniors should answer out of turn, right? So first question goes to the juniors. Includes you. Let's play with the people on stage. So you have to stand in between, Deepti. You're neither a junior nor a senior. Right? Okay. No, that was not a question. Okay, so juniors, what is this?
A typewriter.
And you are not also a junior. You stand close to Deepti. I mean, not in. Okay, so now you just leave the. Yeah. So now that is not my question, actually. It's too easy. What is this? My question is actually to one of the cadets. Please step out. Now, if you want to go to the next line in a typewriter, how do you do that? You have to press?
Press end.
No.
I mean,
he says press enter. Oh, give him the mic. No. So you got to press enter, right? Fantastic answer. Yeah.
no, sir. Actually, there's a mechanism over there. By that we can.
See, this is not a main engine, okay?
Yes, sir.
So there is no mechanism. You've got to. Anybody else knows? Except Komal, yeah.
I actually don't know what it is called, but I've seen in movies there's something pull and then it skips to the next line. I'm not sure.
So I'm just trying to highlight right? So can somebody, the seniors, explain how this is done, please? I want my microphone here. Deepti. So even Deepti says, so this is becoming a fashion. Deepti says, I don't know, means she's wanting to actually prove she's a junior.
I don't know what it's called.
It's called the carriage. Yeah, so you move the carriage and then you go to the next line. Okay, sir. Okay, now, next question for the seniors. Juniors don't answer. Only seniors to answer, okay? And sir, I'll come back to you on this. It's your question, Captain Sudhir Subedar. What is this game called? What is this game called?
One of these computer
No,
games.
this is only one line answer. You cannot give an explanation.
Computer game.
What? What is the name of this game? Like one day I was in office, my son called up, Dad, I can't play football today. I said, why? What happened? You got hurt? Well, no, my computer is not working. So, sir, okay, now if the seniors can't answer, so seniors is one all.
Half answer.
No, not half answer. Okay, now any juniors, what is this name of this game?
Fortnite.
So this game is called Fortnite. Yeah, fantastic. So I'm just trying to highlight, what the game is. Okay, so next is for the juniors. What do you think they are doing? Oh, no, you can't. No prompting. Juniors, any one of you, even Komal. What do you think they are doing?
They're cleaning something.
They're cleaning, yes, they're cleaning. But what is this called?
No idea.
Any juniors? Juniors,
I got no idea.
you got no idea. You have to go to press the enter button and find out. Okay, so this is called, sir, please explain. I will only me asking questions to Deepti, okay? Deepti, don't answer any questions from the audience. Sir, can you explain what this is?
Sort of holy stoning.
Yeah, what is this?
But
So what is
here-
holy stoning?
Holy stoning is getting onto your knees and cleaning the deck or polishing the deck of.
Wooden deck, right? So my question to seniors, who wants to take this? Ritu, you take this. Seniors, what is this equipment? Wait. What is this? The question is, what is this equipment? To the seniors. Any seniors from the audience? Yes, Andrew. Oh, Andrew is really a junior come senior. So yeah, this is a Nintendo Switch. Anybody knows? Any seniors knows what's a Nintendo Switch? How come you, Robert knows, and Andrew knows? I'm finding a link here. Okay, right. So juniors, for the juniors on stage, name any two, please, no prompting. Juniors, name any two circus companies of India. Bolo.
I just know one. It's called Jumbo Circus, I guess.
You guess or what you know already?
I'm sure it's Jumbo
You're sure?
Circus.
I know one name, maybe that may be underground, but it is Rambo Circus.
You can't make up names here, okay? Rapo Circus.
Rambo Circus.
Rambo.
I've been there.
As a participant or what?
Audience.
No, if you say I've been to the circus, I want to ask you that. As a participant?
I have been to only one circus, Jumbo Circus.
So, okay, so these are right. Rambo Circus, Ajanta Circus, Gemini Circus. These are the circus we grew up with, right? And I'm not a senior. So. Apollo Circus, yeah, fantastic. Okay, now it gets really tricky. To the seniors again. And I come to Deepti on this. Now I am going to ask Deepti. Deepti, can we have the music track? We want to identify the song. Deepti.
You're a monster. I can swallow a bottle of alcohol in her. Feel like Godzilla. Better hit the deck like the cartilla. My whole squad's in here walking around the party. A cross between a zombie, a apocalypse, and Bobby the brain meaning, which is probably the same reason. With maniacs, JDs and his dumb
Stop. Before I go to Deepti, how many of you seniors know? Hands up. Seniors, what song is this?
I can swallow a
Stop.
I can swallow a
Stop. No, when I say stop, this guy is not stopping on the PPT. Oh, okay. How many of the senior persons know who the singer is? No, none of the senior persons know. You know, Robert, you are not, you should be on stage now. So I'll go back to Deepti, and Deepti, who's this?
I may pronounce it wrong because
If you pronounce it wrong, it's a different speaker, it's a different singer.
it's called what? Enemin.
He's called what?
No, my tongue twists when I take his name, and that's my fault. Eminem.
Oh, big round of applause, Eminem. And this song is called Godzilla.
Godzilla, yeah.
From
It was
Eminem.
used in the movie as well.
Okay, now don't laugh. Don't laugh, because now I have something for you. I'm going to play a clip. You got to identify the singer, the song, and the movie. Okay, please. Whoa! Don't stop before, please. Okay, what is this? What is this song? Any idea? What is this song? No, they didn't see it. What is this song?
No idea.
You're not observant, huh? Who's this guy? Who's this guy? Okay. Yeah, so Komal, who's this? No, no, the question is not to you. Any of you know this?
I know the song, but not the actor.
Don't know the actor, don't know the movie. Anybody? Dr. Bilani. Okay, please answer. And the actor is? Okay, now we are not actually having fun. I'm trying to make a point here, okay? Okay, now, question to the seniors. What is this app, sir? Yeah. Big round of applause. Ritu says TikTok. I mean, everybody knows TikTok. Okay. So juniors, now, who is this superhero? Who is this superhero? This world is full of superheroes. Juniors, anybody, juniors, tell me, who is this superhero? We grew up with this, right? And our Anjali says, I know, because you're a junior, that's why. Oh, you know, you're a millennial. Anybody? You got to press enter and find out. And he says, I have no idea, no mobile nahi hai. Now, yeah, now Andrew, I will put this, Andrew, I'll put this, now Robert, yeah, who's this? Mandrake, yes, this is Mandrake, okay? And question 2 again, seniors, what is called beatbox? Beatboxing. What is beatboxing, sir? What is beatboxing?
No idea.
It's kind of boxing, but what is that?
No, it is.
It's not boxing.
It's not boxing. It's called beatboxing. More. Come on, more. Okay, so it's like making music from your vocal cords. That's beatboxing, okay? And so we want senior and juniors. What is this guy doing? Shh, you can't prompt like this. What is this guy? And this guy is looking at kaun kya bol raha hai? What is this guy doing? Any idea? So he's saying he's sharpening the string of the guitar. The kite. What is that called? Aisa kya karna? What is this called? What is this called? Manja. So it's like, you know, looped in, and we grew up also making our own manja in the house, and then so gentlemen and ladies, 5 minutes now. Only 5 minutes discussion, and then go off. Not holding you back from your evening. My question, the larger question is the younger generation smarter than what we were? Or it's not a debate, it's just a discussion. And are they doing things in a different way? So I will go 1 minute to each. You get 30 seconds each, right? Because you couldn't answer what a typewriter is. So yeah, Ritu ma'am.
Yeah. The young generations is much smarter, and they're more seeking, you know, and they're more seeking because they have so many avenues, the digital avenues. While when we were there, if we had to seek any information or seek any alternative, we had to talk to somebody elder who knew the knowledge. Here, they don't need to wait for an elder. They have it available. So the seeking is much faster, is much more avenues, and they're very eager to learn.
Fantastic, sir. And before this, I'm going to tell you the story. Sir sent me a message saying that everything he said about what we are going to talk, and usme STCW likha. I said, no, we will not talk about STCW, but even if you want to talk about it, just 1 minute.
I didn't make the point about STCW. I was trying to make a point that the slide which I shared with Chaukat, Mind the Gap.
Yeah.
This Mind the Gap has been written and talked about in London too for God knows how many years. Once my mom asked me, are these people dumb? Can't they see the gap between the platform and the train? And that's the kind of disconnect that we have had between this side of the dais and that side of the dais. It's for many reasons, but I want to make a point that perhaps I am the oldest ship in this hall. Shaukat, Mohan, Kaustubh, Shiv, Sanjay, and a few more, I was able to transfer the disconnect. They have probably failed a little bit to pass on that disconnect. And that's why we see this gap between us and them.
Dipti, your thoughts on this?
I don't know whether I should call it a disconnect, but I think the current generation, they're smart in their own way. And since morning, afternoon, we are listening to a lot of things on technology, on training, on artificial intelligence, on digitalization. If you ask me, I'm a bit conventional. I still feel when we have an exchange, a person-to-person exchange, definitely learning takes place with a human touch, which I feel technology to a certain extent cannot do. Yes, the children of today, or I would rather say the millennials, as you had put it, they are very smart in the digital world. They know, I'm sure today, when the first time we also have seen apps, we have asked our children, I'm not able to figure this out. Can you help me? And my son does it. And he says, okay, you go to YouTube, they have a tutorial on it, you will learn it. That is how we have become. What the past sailors can give the present, which I feel has, you cannot attach any value to that, and that is their experience. Yes, ships have changed, technology has changed, but that experience brings in a lot of grit, perseverance, which they went through, where they had a lot of patience. Now, because I deal with a lot of cadets, somewhere I feel their patience level is lower today. They want it, if, even if they lose something, they don't perform, they feel so affected by it that they feel the world is going to topple down now. Am I true? Yes. So I feel the patience is low. The only way to bridge the gap, if you ask me truly, is both of them need to understand each other and be in each other's shoes. There's a lot of give and take which can take place between a senior and a cadet also. So I think if we understand what they want and try and communicate with them what they want to hear in a different way, then I feel that gap can be reduced to a large extent. So
The environment for this thing to happen is has been reduced by technology, by miscommunication or too much of communication, and therefore this change is required by technology.
that's why I say the human touch should always be there. That cannot replace, and that's why I'm sure we have our own gurus. So many, you said you have your mentors sitting here. What they would have taught you face to face with hand holding, I don't think technology can do it even today.
So Komal is I think India's youngest
Mediator, that's right.
yeah, she's an international award winning. She's done India proud. Yeah, she's also the daughter of Sushil Mathur.
So very good evening, the silent generation, the baby boomers, the Gen X, fellow millennials, and the little Gen Z. Now, in simpler languages, the era of my grandfather, my father, my colleagues, and the generations that are yet to leave their imprint on the work sector. Now, these terms that we have today are born out of progress. Now, the two questions that are posed here today is whether the younger generation is smarter or whether the younger generation is doing things better. The answer to both of those is expected to be a little too pointed. What I would like to point out here is this: the evolution of what we have here today. When we started in the silent generation, that is the generation of my grandfather, they valued concepts like loyalty, building relationships, that even if it wasn't the most financially fruitful decision to make, for the sake of the relationship, for the sake of traditions, we must maintain the path that we're on. We then moved on to the Gen X, the baby boomers first. They spearheaded the civil rights movement. They saw activism. They were the ones who introduced us to the concept of a work-life balance. We then had the generation who first had their own personal computers. And today we are here with everything that we have. Standing here today makes me realize that the world has considerably moved forward from the old golden days of my grandfather's era. But why are we facing this? Is it because of progress? Perhaps not. It is probably because of the pace of progress. In my opinion, this disparity is born out of the older generation finding it exhausting to pick up the pace, and the younger generation finding it exhilarating to keep picking up the pace, to moving faster, to achieving that one more thing. Who are we as millennials? We are the most confused and contradicting generation. We are, well, stable, but unstable. We are the ones who know what we want, and yet we want so much more that we don't know exists yet. We like being alone, but we also like serving the public. Why are we this confused? The simplest answer is, we didn't come from Mars. We are your children. We are byproducts of everything that you created here today. A quick question. How do we breach this gap? Okay, a quick question to the audience at large. I want a show of hands. How many of you use WhatsApp on a daily basis? Everyone. I see everyone here. WhatsApp was created by two individuals from the Gen X. Now, my grandfather is sitting here today. He is a part of the silent generation, the oldest generation in this room right now. And he has adapted to WhatsApp.
Not me. Oldest. Most senior most.
Senior most. We use WhatsApp. What I'm trying to drive here is this: the capacity of generations to adapt. A very simple example that I would like to give you from what I practice, which is mediation. In simple language, what is mediation? It is settling your disputes out of court in a very amicable manner, where it's not a win or a loss. It's a conducive win-win for the parties, instead of the traditional going to court and getting a winning or a losing verdict. Now, why is this system so great? It's because it's enshrined and it is born out of concepts that the older generation drove forward. What is that? Maintaining relationships, positive communication, not immediately running to burning bridges. Mediation is essentially that, the concept of the yesteryears with the mannerisms of today's generation. How do we bridge this gap is, well, simple to say, but I think all of us must contribute in achieving this. How do we do that? Is reversal of mentorship. Now, why reversal of mentorship? Because as a millennial, I need help in understanding the roots of where we are today. What did we evolve from? What was the thought process behind a lot of things that existed in the past? However, the older generations need to be mentored about what do we have right now and where do we look at tomorrow to be. So there has to be a two-sided mentorship, and where a place where everybody can bring something to the table to help in this transition of tomorrow. Secondly, open communication. Gone are the days of herd mentality where employees, dictionary started with yes, sir, certainly, sir, sure, sir. Today's generation has questions, has opinions. Earlier in the generations before us, the priority was financial stability. We need to be able to make enough to retire in peace. Today's generation's priorities have changed. They want to experience, they want to grow, they want to learn. They bring you the reality of everything from mental health to money. This generation needs reasons, needs to understand, needs patience. And I understand that the older generations are tired, but the younger generation has questions that need to be answered. So if we can...
So Komal, what you said, I really like, because in one of our lectures years back, I pointed out of reverse mentoring in shipping, which needs to be worked on, because very few cases we see reverse mentoring on shipping. But I like what you said, and a lot of allegations you made for all the senior guys, and we are all, I can see grim faces. I mean, acha, okay. So I think you, yes, sir. Yeah, please, sure. Microphone, please, to Captain Halbe.
I have a question for Dr. Deepti. You've told me I must ask you. Yeah.
Achha, she told me to ask the question.
I have a question. All these things that were shown just now, the Nintendo, Xbox, Beatbox, I don't know what other boxes, I have never seen any of those. Okay. I read books, I watch TV, I love cricket. I have no blood pressure, I have no diabetes, I'm very happy. I talk to my son not every day. He doesn't live in India. I don't talk to him every day. We talk whenever we think is necessary. And I'm very happy. Is something wrong with me?
Okay, one sec. Before I let Deepti answer your question, you have blood pressure? You have diabetes? You have blood pressure? तो इनको भी नहीं है.
Sir, I am 3 times their age. अगला साल पूछूंगा, लेकिन डॉक्टर दीप्ति को आंसर
Because you know क्यों नहीं है? Because you've still not gone on the ship. That's why. Yeah.
No, I think, sir, there's nothing wrong with you. And it's
Yay.
great. No, but I must say one thing, because there are so many seniors sitting here. And I think the best thing what y'all seniors do is that y'all are not retiring. Okay? And it's a fact. That is one of, Captain Halbe, I have seen you in every event. You're there on all the boards.
No, listen.
You're always giving-
Listen. I invited him.
No, I know, but I meet him otherwise as well.
He's under my invitation.
But no, the good thing is if somebody calls him and says that, okay, sir, I have a problem, I need to discuss. Okay, let's talk. That is what the seniors offer to us. And I'm very fortunate to have got to know so many people, and they're all very busy people. They're all doing tremendous work in their own way. The reason you're happy, sir, because you're passionate about what you're
But tell me,
doing
Dipti,
and you stand by what you do.
tell me, Dipti, do we need to retire?
No, absolutely not. There should be no age of retirement till you're healthy, fit, and you can give something back to your own industry. And I think this is what it is, that give back to the industry what you have learned, your knowledge, your experience, and so many other things.
Gentlemen and ladies, we'll have 5 minutes.
Okay,
To the
so
house.
you're
No more.
absolutely normal.
5 minutes.
You're absolutely normal, and you're
normal.
happy. And that's why you always smile and you pass on that, it's contagious.
Okay, we have 5 minutes now for asking questions from the floor, and then we can, of course, do what we came here to in Goa to do. Yeah.
My question is to Komal. See, I don't.
But that doesn't make you much younger.
Can you name me one invention?
Google karo.
Any one invention.
Abhi.
Which your Gen X or whatever you call that has made, which is not based on a previous invention. Name me one.
So
I have heard this is in the political when they
So
come
how-
to raise boats, no?
So the very,
Yeah. You didn't let her answer. Hey, you didn't let her answer. What about Uber? Uber.
Akbar commanded his army when he was 12 years old. When he was 12 years old in the 16th century, he commanded an army which had 100,000 men, 40,000 horses, some other number of elephants.
No women?
Now,
Now this is the question to us. No women?
12-year-old of this generation. Can you tie a student?
Who,
so
Akbar?
to respond to that.
Akbar couldn't tie a shoelace.
Can I?
Sir, you need to stop him now. You are right at the back. You need to stop him right now. And he's the one who gave me a threat of the time. No, you can. Can you answer this question? Because I cannot. So, yeah, okay.
We'll talk about it more after.
And then after a glass of wine, he'll ask you more questions. Okay? Yeah.
So with all due respect. So with all due respect, our generation as a whole originated on Earth. What we are today is a result of the circumstances that were provided to us by you, the environment that you all left us with. What do? We pick up with what we get and we take it ahead. And then perhaps we leave a better place or a worse place.
So
But
when
we
your
work with what
technology
we have.
failed, he said, you are the ones who started this. Listen, 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 sir, we need to stop this now, sir.
So,
Sir, I told you, sir, Captain Halbe, you are
so
right.
yet you bought
at the
me the
back.
same laptop.
You need to hold his hands because I know Sanjay Maini, Captain Maini, if you hold his hands, he cannot say anything more. Okay, guys, a big round of applause for this session. This
has
will
been
go on.
incredible.
Abhi baki hai. But, and he says, "Bachcha ko bolne do." Bachchi hai, sir, bachchi. Okay, one last word from both, all three of you together because we've already had time to speak. Half a minute, no, 30 seconds. But it sounds better, no?
So, good evening, everyone. I won't address the panels, some of the answers, because they said we have less patience. So we didn't get a technology by birth, or we had a transition too. So the technology came after 2011, maybe online exams and all after lockdown, probably. Before that, I had physical papers and everything we had to done by ourselves, written in pen or anything else. But the main thing is we had patience back then. Now everything is online, everything is we get at instant. We can buy in Amazon with an instant, anything we can do with an instant. We have no patience because of that. And even in this today's session, many of them talked about AR used in ships, we can do meetings and all. So till now, for a meeting, we have to go ashore, or ship should reach at port for the meeting. Now, because of that, the every day-to-day activities will turn to be like in an instant. So the patience will gradually will.
Okay, so I am losing patience now. Yes, because yeah, so we need to. I gave you 30 seconds, right? So
Yes, sir. Sorry, sir.
so when you talk patience, I'm the one who's losing it. So yeah.
Okay, so as we all saw by this some kind of test, we were not able to answer the typewriter thing, and they were not able to answer the Nintendo Switch thing. So everybody is smart in their own generation, their own way.
Always.
And yes, we learned from them. And as
Captain Halve says, no, I'm smart. Sir, I told you we'll okay. Sir, then I have to call the black cats if you don't stop talking now. Okay. Listen, 15 seconds to you. Nipun, now you start speaking all of a sudden. You said one statement, you have already made 4. Okay. So gentlemen, okay, 15 seconds to you. 15 seconds.
I think the younger generation is.
So you think so, or what you actually
No, I
believe?
I believe the younger generation, you can call them smarter only if they want to discover something or learn something apart from something concrete that is given to them. With the help of dignitaries like you who have achieved something that we want to achieve. So we can only take you all as an example and lead from your footsteps.
Thank you. Let me tell you something. We have achieved nothing. Anybody feels that we have achieved something is not an achiever. Okay. So with that note, put your hands together. 8:30, we meet at the bar to take this session forward and also to take another session forward. So I'll
Yes,
please
absolutely.
brief them about what's going to happen tomorrow.
Absolutely.
In the morning.
So,
apologize for the delay, but we made up.
thank you, Captain Mukherjee. Yes, please present mementos to all our people on stage as a sign of gratitude. This has interestingly been a most lively chat session. So, ladies and gentlemen, yes, we can carry on this chat at the bar. We will meet at the bar for dinner and cocktails at about 8:30. Please be careful. Okay, and also I would like to brief you very, very quickly about tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are residing with us at this venue, we have exciting beach activities planned for you tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. And also for the dinner and cocktail tonight, you will get a taste of Goan talent. So be there at 8:30.
Made for you for poor.
Thank you.
Yeah, so you got the same momentum, yeah.
Thank you, team. Thank you, team, for being here on the dais. And ladies and gentlemen, we'll call it a wrap till we meet again at 8:30 p.m.
8:30. Yeah, yeah, I will arrange. I'll tell you. बंद कर दे इसको। अगर थोड़ा बात